Hi Balko, welcome to Narayana Digital Platform. I am Vikas Kumar and today we will be discussing JEE Mains September 4th September second shift paper. Let's get on with it. In this first question, we have an arithmetic sequence of n terms and first term is given as 1, nth term is given as 300 and common difference is an integer. Now, we'll write an is equal to 1 plus n minus 1d, which is how much? It's given as 300. From here, we will get that n minus 1 into d is equal to 299. 299, as you'll notice, is equal to 13 into 23. Now, either n minus 1 is 1 or n minus 1 is 13 or n minus 1 is 23 or n minus 1 is 299, out of which we have to check that n should belong to 15 to, n should be from 15 to 50. So, if we take n minus 1 is equal to 23, then only n will belong to 15 to 50. So, n minus 1 is equal to 23, d is equal to 13, we will get n is equal to 24. Which means if we want to find an minus 4, we will have an minus 4 as a20 and it will be 1 plus 19 into d, which is 13. How much it will be? 1 plus 247, 248. We will mark that option corresponding to 248. We will move on to the next question. Next question, we wish to find the minimum value of 2 to the power sin x plus 2 to the power cos x. What we will do is we will use arithmetic mean is greater than equal to geometric mean. Arithmetic mean of 2 to the power sin x and 2 to the power cos x. It will be 2 to the power sin x plus 2 to the power cos x upon 2 greater than equal to square root of 2 to the power sin x 2 to the power cos x. Now, multiplying 2 to the power sin x and 2 to the power cos x will give us 2 to the power sin x plus cos x, whole square root will give us 2 to the power sin x plus cos x upon 2. We will write the expression the 2 to the power sin x plus 2 to the power cos x is greater than equal to 2 to the power 1 from here, 2 to the power sin x plus cos x by 2 from here. So, 2 to the power 1 minus sin x plus cos x 1 plus by 2. All this is in the power. Now, notice that we have to find minimum value. This number is as big as we take sin x plus cos x. If we take minimum value of sin x plus cos x, right hand side will be minimum and that will give us a hint of minimum value of 2 to the power sin x plus 2 to the power cos x. Minimum value of sin x plus cos x we can take as minus root 2. That will be achieved when sin x is minus 1 by root 2 and cos x is minus 1 by root 2 and both of those are equal. Which means this number is greater than equal to 2 to the power 1 minus root 2 upon 2, which is same as 2 to the power 1 minus 1 by root 2. Now, we must check that this expression is achieving that value for some value of x. So, we can substitute x is equal to 3 pi by 4, let's say 5 pi by 4, we can take x is equal to 5 pi by 4, 2 to the power sin x plus 2 to the power cos x will be equal to 2 to the power 1 minus 1 by root 2. And in all other cases, this expression will be greater than that value, which means that must be the minimum value. We will mark that option. We will move on to the next question. This next question, we have ratio of 3 consecutive terms in expansion of. Notice that these questions are based upon the memory of the students. There might be slight difference from the actual question. And hence, the difference is that this thing must not be terms, it must be coefficients. So, we will consider that coefficient is written here. Ratio of consecutive coefficients in the expansion of this is this. Otherwise, if we talk about terms, what will happen is x will be a variable, n will be a variable, r will be a variable. The ratio won't be enough for us to find out n, x and r, all these things. So now, when we have coefficients here, what we will do is, we have consecutive coefficients, let us take as NCR minus 1, NCR and NCR plus 1. We have NCR upon NCR minus 1 as 10 upon 5, which is 2, which is n minus r plus 1 upon r. We'll cross multiply, it will be 2r is equal to n minus r plus 1, or n plus 1 is equal to 3r. We'll take as the first equation. Similarly, we'll apply the ratio of these two, NCR plus 1 and NCR is equal to 14 upon 10. We'll write NCR plus 1 upon NCR is equal to 14 upon 10, which is 7 upon 5, and that is equal to n minus r upon r plus 1, which will give us 7r plus 7 is equal to 5n minus 5r. We'll take an equation number 2. We'll solve these two equations. We'll get n is equal to 11, comma. Now, since we have got n is equal to 11, we want the greatest coefficient. Greatest coefficient in the expansion of 1 plus x to the power n. Actually, we have taken n in place of n plus 5. The greatest coefficient in the expansion of 1 plus x to the power n will be 11c5 or 11c6. We'll calculate 11c5. 11c5 will be 11, 10, 9, 8, 7 upon 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It will be equal to 42 into 11, it will be 462. We'll mark that. We'll move on to the next question. Now here we have 6 multiple choice questions and 4 options are there, of which only one is correct. So basically we have 6 single correct questions and we have to answer exactly 4 correctly. In how many ways can we answer exactly 4 correctly? So how many ways can we select the 4 questions which we want to answer correctly? That will be 6c4 multiplied by the rest of the 2 questions we have to answer incorrectly. There is only one correct answer out of the 4. Number of ways of answering incorrectly would be 3. So for the rest of the 2 questions, we'll answer in 3 ways for the one question and another 3 ways for another question. The total 6 questions are there. 6c4, so we have selected the 4 questions which will be answering correctly, and rest 2 questions we can answer incorrectly in 3 ways each. This number is equal to 15 into 9, that is 135. We'll mark that and we'll move on to the next question. In next question, we have class intervals and we have frequency. Variance is given to be 50. Then we have to find the value of x. Notice that in this class interval, we'll take 5 as the value. Here we'll take 15 as the value. Here we'll take 25 as the value. This data is as good as 5, 5 2 times, x, x, x dot dot, 15, 15, 15. We have 15, 15, 15 dot dot x times, and then we have 25, comma 25 two times. This is the whole data. As you can see from symmetry, 15 is the mean. Two observations are 10 less than 15. Two of the observations are 10 more than 15. We know that mu or mean is 15 irrespective of what is x. Now then we will equate variance equal to 15. What we will do is we will use the corresponding formula for variance, summation xi minus mu whole square upon n. How much is n? N is 4 observations plus x, so we have 4 plus x observations, and xi minus mu whole square is 5 minus 15 whole square, that is minus 10 whole square, plus minus 10 whole square, plus 0 x times, because 15 minus 15 is 0. Then we have 10 whole square plus 10 whole square for these two observations, and n is x plus 4. And all this is given to be equal to 50. Now notice that this thing is 400. 400, we get 400 is equal to x plus 4 into 50, or simply x is equal to 4. We'll mark that option. We'll move on to the next question. In this question, we have two players A and B, and they are throwing a dice one by one till one of them wins. A wins if the total of the two dice is 6, B wins if the total of the two dice is 7. A throws first. If A throws first, in one throw, the probability of A winning is number of ways in which A can win upon total number of ways. Total number of ways are 36. Number of ways A can win, the total can be 6, is 1, 5, 2, 4, 3, 3, 4, 2, and 5, 1. Means first dice shows 1, second dice shows 5, or first dice shows 2, second dice shows 4, or and so on. These are the 6 ways. The probability of A winning, so let us say PA is equal to 5 upon 36. Similarly, the cases for which B wins is 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 4, 4, 3, 5, 2, and 6, 1. Total number of ways are 6. The probability of B winning, PB, is 6 upon 36, or just 1 by 6. Now, the first throw, A will win with probability 5 by 36. So either A will win in the first throw itself, or A will miss, B will miss, and then A will win. A will miss with probability 31 by 36. B will miss with probability 5 by 6. And then A will win with probability 5 by 36. Another case can be A misses, then B misses, then again A misses, then again B misses, then A wins. We are actually writing all the cases in which A can win. So if A wins in 5th throw, that is A's 3rd throw and to overall 5th throw, then the probabilities will look like 31 upon 36 into 5 by 6, then again this term into 5 by 36. As you can see, this is the GP. The sum of that GP will be 5 upon 36 upon 1 minus 31 into 5 upon 36 into 6. We'll simplify that. It will look like 30 upon 36 into 6 minus 31 into 5. We'll mark the corresponding option and we'll move on to the next question. In next question, we have W is an imaginary cube root of unity, and we have to find A plus B such that 2 plus omega whole square is A plus B omega. Simple question. Expanding 2 plus omega whole square, we'll get 4 plus 4 omega plus omega square. That's equal to 4 plus 4 omega minus 1 minus omega, because omega square is minus 1 minus omega, which is simply 3 plus 3 omega. That's given as a plus b omega. We'll know a and b are 3, hence a plus b must be equal to 6. We'll mark that option. We'll move on to the next question. In this question, we have two circles, x square plus y square minus 6x is equal to 0, x square plus y square minus 4y is equal to 0. They intersect at origin and one other point. A circle is given, the circle S passes through point of intersection of these two circles and its center lies on this line. We have to find that circle S and we have to mark which of these points lie on the circle S. Now let us find out the radical axis of these two circles. Radical axis can be taken as S1 minus S2 is equal to 0. Subtracting these two equations, we will get 6x minus 4y is equal to 0 as radical axis. The circle S can be taken as any circle of these two, let us say x square plus y square minus 6x plus lambda times radical axis 6x minus 4y is equal to 0. We will find center of this circle and we will substitute the center in this line. Center of this circle will be 3 minus 3 lambda, comma 4 lambda, 2 lambda. The center we will put in this line, we will get twice of here we have 12 lambda, 6 minus 12 lambda plus 12 is equal to 0. Lambda will come out to be 3 by 2. We will substitute lambda 3 by 2 here. We will get the equation of this circle as x square plus y square 6x plus 9x minus 6y is equal to 0. Now we have this equation. We will substitute all those four points, we will mark the option and we will move on to the next question. In this question, we have an integral pi by 6 to pi by 3, this expression into dx. Notice that initially it looks like pi by 6 plus pi by 3 is pi by 2. So we should apply a to b fx dx is same as a to b f a plus b minus x dx. But as you can see, even if you apply pi by 2 minus x everywhere, the expression is no closer to simplifying. So if you began the question like this, there is no problem, but still you should figure out that it's not leading to a result. You should come back and start afresh. Starting afresh, we should see that the expressions seem to be when tan cube x is getting differentiated, then sin square 3x is as it is, and when sin square 3x is getting differentiated here, then tan 3x, tan cube x is as it is. So we will rewrite this expression as integration of, we will apply limits later, tan to the power 2 tan cube x sin to the power 4 3x plus, here it will be, this term can be written as sin 2x and into sin 3x into cos 3x twice. So it will be twice of tan to the power 4x into sine cube 3x cos 3x dx. If you multiply this expression by 2, we can say that it's integration of, notice that how secant square x we forgot here, how this is sine power 4 3x, then differentiation of tan to the power 4x after multiplying by 2 plus tan to the power 4x differentiation of sine to the power 4 3x. Hence, it's ab dash plus ba dash. It must be differentiation of product of sine power 4 3x and tan to the power 4x with the limits from pi by 6 to pi by 3. So, it will be half of, you will apply the values on 3x into tan to the power 4x. First, you will apply pi by, will you apply pi by 3, it will be 0, then you will apply pi by 6. For pi by 6, sine 3x, that will be 1, and it will be 1 by root 3 to the power 4, which is 1 by 9. So, it will be 1 by 2 into minus 1 by 9, 1 by 18. We will mark that option. We will move on to the next question. In next question, we have a point 200 meter above a lake. So, let us say there is a lake, this is surface of the lake. There is a point 200 meter above the lake. Let us say this is the point and this is 200 meter. The angle of elevation of a cloud is 30 degree. From here, let us say there is a cloud here. The angle of elevation is 30 degree and the angle of reflection, the angle of depression of reflection of this cloud is 60 degree. So, reflection of the cloud will be the same distance downwards. Let us say this is a reflection. This angle is given to be 60 degree. Notice we want distance of this point from the cloud. What we will take is, let us say this distance is x. This distance will be root 3x, this distance will be 2x, applying sine 30 and cos 30. Similarly, if this is root 3x, this distance will be root 3 into root 3x, this distance will be 3x. Notice that this distance is still 200 meter. So, we note that 3x plus x, which is 4x, 3x plus x, which is 4x, is same as twice of 200 plus x. From here, we can very easily find 2x is 400, 2x is the distance required. We will mark that option. We will move on to the next question. In this question, we have been asked the contrapositive of the statement fx is a continuous at x implies x is equal to a, then fx is differentiable at x is equal to a. Notice that contrapositive of p implies q. Its contrapositive is negation of q implies negation of p. It's essentially the same statement with the same truth value. Notice that we should not concern ourselves with the truth value of this statement. The statement might be false, the statement might be true, but we just have to pick which of these four is the contrapositive. Now notice that p implies q is simply fx is continuous at x is equal to a and fx is differentiable at x is equal to a. So negation of p should be fx is not differentiable fx is not differentiable implies fx is not continuous. We'll pick that option. Fx is not differentiable at x is equal to a, then fx is not continuous at x is equal to a. We'll pick that option and we'll move on to the next question. In this question, we have equation of an ellipse and its directrix is given to be x is equal to 4. So we have x is equal to 4 is same as directrix, whose equation is x is equal to a by e. Eccentricity is given as half, we'll use that. So 4 into half should be equal to a, which is 2. So we have a is equal to 2. Then we have eccentricity is equal to half, so we can find out b. b is equal to a square 1 minus e square under root. A square is 4, 1 minus half square is 3 by 4, 4 into 3 by 4 is 3. So root 3 actually. So b will be equal to root 3. So we know our ellipse. Now it's been asked here equation of normal. The normal at the ellipse at the point 1 comma beta also passes through which of these 4 points. So first let us write normal at 1 comma beta. Since we know the equation of ellipse is now x square by 4 plus y square by 3 is equal to 1. We know if you put x is equal to 1 and y is equal to beta, it will give us 1 by 4 plus beta square by 3 is equal to 1. Calculating that, 3 by 4, 9 by 4, so beta square is equal to 9 by 4 and beta is equal to plus minus 3 by 2. We will say 3 by 2 because beta is greater than 0. Finding the normal at that point and checking which of the following the normal passes through, we already know that normal will pass through 1 comma 3 by 2. That point is that point at which we are writing the normal. We'll mark that option. We'll move on to the next question. Now we have AB points lie on x-axis and CD lies on the curve this below x-axis. We can draw this curve quite easily. It's a parabola. Let's say this curve is y is equal to x square minus 1. We have a rectangle. So by symmetry, we know that this is like this, it will be the rectangle. Now this point, let us take as x comma x square minus 1. And we want the maximum area of the rectangle. For maximum area of the rectangle, we know that this distance is x and this distance is x square minus 1. The base of the rectangle is 2x long, height of the rectangle is x square minus 1. So area simply is 2x into x square minus 1. We'll differentiate area with respect to x and we'll equate it to 0 for maximum. To find at what x the area will be maximum, we'll get, it will imply we are differentiating x cube minus x. We'll get 3x square is equal to 1 or x is equal to 1 by root 3. We'll take x is equal to 1 by root 3. We'll put here x, this point will come out to be 1 by root 3, comma, minus 2 by root 3, minus 2 by 3. Notice that our area will be twice into 1 by root 3 into 2 by root 3, 2 by 3. Which means it will be 4 root 3 upon 9. We'll mark that option and we'll move on to the next question. Now we have alpha beta are roots of this quadratic, alpha gamma are the roots of this quadratic, which means these two quadratic have a common root which is alpha. Now what's the most important property of the root? It obviously satisfies the equation. So we write alpha square minus alpha plus 2 lambda is equal to 0, and we also write 3 alpha square minus 10 alpha plus 27 lambda is equal to 0. We'll multiply this equation by 3 and we'll subtract. So we'll cancel 3 alpha square. Notice that 7 alpha minus 21 lambda will come out to be 0, which means alpha will come out to be 3 lambda. Now again, we know that alpha must satisfy as a root. We'll put 3 lambda back. So we'll get 3 lambda whole square minus 3 lambda plus 2 lambda is equal to 0. From here, I'll get lambda is equal to 0 as one of the values. Other value we'll have is lambda is equal to 1 by 9. Since lambda is 1 by 9, alpha will come out to be 1 by 3. As for beta, sum of roots is 1, so beta must be 2 by 3. For gamma, sum of roots here, alpha and gamma must be 10 by 3, hence gamma must be 3. We have alpha, beta and gamma. What's required is beta gamma upon lambda, which is equal to, did we write beta is equal to 3? Beta will be 2 by 3. We will have 2 by 3 into 3 upon 1 upon 9, which will be equal to 18. We'll mark that. We'll move on to the next question. In next question, we have been given this differential equation and we have to integrate it, the expression, and write somewhat the solution of the differential equation. Notice that if we bring this 3 this side and this expression that side, we'll get dy minus 3 dx upon dx will be equal to y minus 3x upon ln y minus 3x. We'll notice that this expression is just differentiation of y minus 3x. We'll take y minus 3x as z. So what's written here is dz by dx is equal to z upon ln z. We'll take these term this side, ln z dz upon z is equal to dx. We'll integrate both sides. Again, integration of this side will be ln z whole square by 2 is equal to x plus c. We'll notice that ln square z we are getting, which is mean we are getting ln square y minus 3x. We'll mark that option and we'll move on to the next question. In next question, we have a point. We have to find distance of that point from this plane. So we have a plane. We have to find this plane is x plus x minus y plus z is equal to 5. We have a point. This point is 1 comma minus 2 comma minus 3. We have to find distance of this point from the plane, but we don't want perpendicular distance. We want distance measured parallel to the line this. Let us say this is that line, some line which is this, x by 2 is equal to y by 3 is equal to z by minus 6. We want distance measured parallel to this line. So what we will do is, we will imagine a line parallel to this line passing through this point and intersecting that plane. That line we can write the equation as x minus 1 by 2 is equal to 5 plus 2 by 3 is equal to z will write is equal to, here we have z only, here we have z plus 3 upon minus 6. Notice that this will give us this point. We can select this point as 2 lambda plus 1, comma 3 lambda minus 2, comma minus 6 lambda minus 3. And this point will be lying on this plane, so this point must satisfy x minus y plus z is equal to 5. Putting that, 2 lambda plus 1 minus 3 lambda plus 2 minus 6 lambda minus 3 must be equal to 0, must be equal to 5, not 0, it should be equal to 5. Finding that out, we know minus 7 lambda is equal to 5, so lambda is equal to minus 5 by 7. Now we need to find the distance between these 2 points. This is 1, this is 2 lambda minus 1. We will use x1 minus x2 whole square plus y1 minus y2 whole square plus z1 minus z2 whole square under root. x1 is 1, difference of x is 2 lambda, difference of y is 3 lambda, and difference of z is 6 lambda. So this distance d must be equal to 2 lambda whole square plus 3 lambda whole square plus 6 lambda whole square under root, which means it should be equal to, notice that lambda square will come in common, mod lambda into 2 square plus 3 square plus 6 square, which is 49 under root, which is 7. That will be equal to, if we put value of the lambda is minus 5 by 7, that will come out to be simply 5. We'll mark that option. We'll move on to the next question. Now in this question, we have been given a function and we have 4 statements corresponding to where the function is continuous. Notice that we need not draw the diagram for any diagram for this question. We know that tan inverse x is a differentiable as well as continuous function in its domain. So wherever function fx is equal to tan inverse x, at all those points, if it is defined on the left hand side, right hand side, both as tan inverse x, the function will be continuous. So in open interval 1, minus 1 to 1, the function is continuous. Also in open interval minus infinity to minus 1, comma 1 to infinity, the function is continuous. The only discontinuity that can happen is at 1 or minus 1. Notice that only one option is corresponding to that. We'll mark that option. We'll move on to the next question. In this question, we have x1, x2, x50, dot 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 x50 has 50 sets, and we have another, and each set has 10 elements. Similarly, we have y1, y2, yn as n sets, and each set has 5 elements. Union of all these x is same as union of all these y's, and let's call that union as z. Now each element of z, it's saying, belongs to exactly 25 of xi and exactly 6 of yi, and we need to find the value of n. Now in order to use this information, we'll be counting a different thing. We won't be counting number of elements in x, number of elements in y. We'll be counting number of ways. We'll say number of ways we can write expression xk belongs to xi. Now we know that we have these sets and we can have any number of elements in these sets, but how many ways can we write this expression xk belongs to capital Xi? This xk all belong to z. We should have used zk, so let us use zk. Zk belongs to capital Z. Okay? Now we are counting that. Notice that all the values, if you say that each element of Z belong to exactly 25 of xi, So that means if number of elements in Z are nz, so this number must be equal to nz multiplied by 25. Because each element in Z belongs to 25 of this. For each element, we can write this expression 25 times. If we think from the side of sets, in first set, how many ways we can write that element belongs to x1? It has 10 elements, we can write in 10 ways. For x2 also we can write that expression in 10 ways, and so on. So for each set we can write something like this in 10 ways. The number of statements, number of expression we'll get is 10 into 50. We'll actually get nz is equal to 20. Nz is equal to 20. Now same thing we'll do for y. Again I'll take, in how many ways can I say yz, zk belongs to yi. How many such statements are there? I am counting. If I count how many such statements are there from sets perspective, then we have n such sets multiplied by each element have 5 elements. Each set yi will have 5 elements. So n into 5 times I can write that. From the set z's perspective, its each element is belonging to 6 of yi. So again we will say nz into 6. We have already found out nz is 20, so we will write it as 20 into 6. So we will find n is equal to 24. We will mark that option. We will move on to the next question. In this question, we have matrix A as 3 cross 3 matrix, and there's 3 more matrices are there, x1, x2 and x3, and b1, b2 and b3. They're all defined like that. Notice that from x1, x2, x3, can't we make one matrix X as you can see, all ones, 1, 1, 1, 0, 2, 1 and 0, 0, 1. We can make, and from all b1, b2, b3, can't we make one matrix B such that B is equal to 1, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 2. And from the given relations, which relations are given, we have A x is equal to B. Notice that this expression takes care of all these 3 relations. All these 3 are there in this expression. Using that, now we need to find determinant of A. We'll take determinant of both sides. Now this is also 3 cross 3, this is also 3 cross 3 and this is also 3 cross 3. Taking determinant, we'll say determinant of A is equal to determinant of B upon determinant of X. Notice that determinant of X is 2 and determinant of B is product of the diagonal elements is 4. And we shall know that the answer is 2. We'll mark that answer. We'll move on to the next question. In next question, we have a vector ai plus 2i plus j plus 2k, and we need to find the value of this expression. Notice that everything we know that I cross a cross I will be I dot I times A minus I dot A times I. Notice that this will give us, this vector is j plus 2k. So we have j plus 2k mod whole square here. Similarly, this expression will be 2i plus 2k mod whole square. And this expression will be 2i plus j mod whole square. We need to find sum of these 3 expressions. As we know, it will be 2 square plus 2 square plus 2 square plus 1 square plus 1 square plus 2 square. This is 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, that is 16, plus 2, 18. We'll mark that. We'll move on to the next question. In next question, we have integration of fractional part of x, integration of greatest integer of x, 10n square minus n. These three terms are in GP and we need to find n. Notice that the graph of fractional part of function is like this. If we want to integrate fractional part from 0 to n, its integration from 0 to 1 will be half, its integration from 1 to 2 will be half. So half plus half plus half will happen how many times? N times. This expression is simply n by 2. Similarly, from the graph of greatest integer function, if we integrate from 0 to 1, it is 0. If we integrate from 1 to 2, it is 1. If we integrate from 2 to 3, it's 2. Then it's 3 plus dot 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 till 1. N, if we integrate, last rectangle will be of the area n minus 1. So this term is simply 1, 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus dot 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 n minus 1, which is nothing but n minus 1 into n by 2. This term is n minus 1 into n by 2. And this term also is 10n square minus n by 2. We need to find n. We will write product of these two, 10 n square minus n multiplied by n by 2 is equal to n minus 1 whole square upon 2 whole square cancelling the terms. We have n minus 1 is equal to 20 or n is equal to 21. We'll mark that and we'll move on to the next question. In this question, we have a circle. PQ is diameter of that circle and perpendicular distance of P and Q of line this are alpha and beta. We have to find the maximum value of product of perpendicular distances. Again, we will use arithmetic mean greater than or equal to geometric mean. This time, arithmetic mean will be alpha plus beta by 2 and we need to find the maximum value of geometric mean, alpha beta under root, which means now we will write as alpha beta as less than equal to alpha plus beta by 2 whole square. To get the sense of alpha plus beta, we will draw the circle and we will see this line x square plus y square is equal to 4 and line x plus y is equal to 2 cuts the circle x square plus y square is equal to 4 at 2 points. And if you take any other chord that is a diameter and you find these perpendicular distances, then we know that this perpendicular distance from origin to x plus y by 2 will be mean of these two perpendicular distances. Notice that, which means the alpha plus beta by 2 is this quantity. Alpha plus beta by 2 is this quantity, its distance of origin 0, 0 from the line x plus y is equal to 2. Finding that will be 0 plus 0 minus 2 upon under root 1 square plus 1 square. This quantity is simply this quantity is simply root 2. Putting that root 2 here, we'll have alpha beta is less than equal to root 2 square, which is 2. that is the maximum value of alpha beta. We'll mark that. Now we only have 23 questions because these questions are reconstructed using the memory of the students. 2 of the questions were not reconstructed. That's all for today.